Alright, so, right, with the Emancipation Proclamation, that assignment that you had just done, right, you got to look at a secondary source, right, the textbook, okay, another secondary source, the video, right, and it was kind of a video that was a different approach than different talking about the document, right, and then a primary source, the actual document. Okay, and so this did a lot. Was it more of a actual thing that they're trying to that they could enforce, or was it more? What was it more for?
It was more like symbolic.
Yeah, it was symbolic. It was the idea that they're saying, look, we are making a statement, right? That enslaved people are going to be free. Okay, and then it also opened so many more doors for African Americans as well.
I'm just wondering, is the original document still around or not?
Yes, and actually when I'm making that assignment, I was actually going to put this one video on it because it was very interesting, but that would have made it really long, I think. I can show it for you guys, but it's on that American Battlefields Trust, and the document, they're, displayed a few times a year, but it's actually, the light is going to damage it since it's over, 100-something, 40 years old now at this point. But yes, I can show that to you. It is still available. Alright, so let's get going with these notes. So, right, as casualties from the war increased, okay, the need for more men rose. And so we have African Americans willing to fight for the Union, especially after this Emancipation Proclamation, right? It changed the way people saw what they were fighting the war for, right? They were fighting for freedom, fighting to end now slavery, and so African Americans were very willing to fight in the war. Congress began allowing African Americans to fight in July 1862. They are also allowed free slaves or contraband the right to join the Union Army in South Carolina. So those enslaved people, right, once they were fighting in the South, okay, once the some of those enslaved people escaped to the Union's fighting side, and they had the right to join the military then, the Union Army, and a lot did. Right? They escaped, and then they're like, yes, let's keep fighting for the Union, because hopefully that will mean at the end of the war for all of us to be free. In July 1863, we have the 54th Massachusetts Infantry Unit led a heroic charge at Fort Sumter, and this infantry is one of the most famous all African American military infantry groups. They did a lot, and although it failed, right, the bravery of the regiment made it the most celebrated African American unit of the war, and then it will go on to, in general, to one of the most famous, most heroic African American regiments in the United States history. Remember, guys, all you have to do is just double click on the line, and it'll highlight the line, and then you can just start typing, and it replaces the line and the highlight. It's an easy way so you're not sitting there backspacing all the lines and wasting that time. Alright, let's get going. If I need to go back, I will, but alright, so we see African Americans joining the fight, right? We also see a growing opportunity for women to join the fight. And so many women, as well as those kind of too older to fight, worked in factories and on farms, right, making any use that they could be to help the war effort. While the economy boomed in the North, right, lack of workers, since a lot of the workers were left to join the war, caused wages to skyrocket. So we see a rise in wages by 43% over a 5-year time span. And women were the backbone of the civilian life, right? While the men were off fighting, someone still had to take over the factory. Someone still had to take over the farm. Some people still had to do those things. People still needed the resources that the North had provided. And so a lot of women took over farms, plantations, stores, and other businesses while all the men were off fighting in the war. So we see kind of a rise in the role women had in society. So many women, while they were working the farms and the factories, but also many women were starting to find jobs in the Union and Confederate government offices. So we see women now starting to join actual jobs in government. One of the most famous women during the Civil War time period is Clara Barton, and she organized the collection of medicine and supplies for delivery on the battlefield. So even women are starting to become a major role part of the war. She became known as the Angel of the Battlefield, and her work formed pretty much the basis for the American Red Cross. Right, the American Red Cross. We still see it today, right? Are we all familiar with that? That's like the big red cross. Okay, and they do a lot of the certifications for like CPR certification, first aid, a lot of times like any natural disasters. The American Red Cross are one of the first groups there to help in any sort of delivering medicine and supplies like Clara Barton had started during this war, it's definitely grown today. We also see in the South, Sally Louisa Tompkins establishing a small hospital in Virginia that grew into a major army hospital. And even Jefferson Davis recognized her as a captain in the Confederate Army. So we're seeing women playing major roles in a war, and getting recognized, starting great things. And so the war definitely opened a lot of doors for African Americans, right? We see them having their own regiments and infantries, right? And then we also see women holding roles and jobs that they didn't before the war. Alright, so that is going to be where we're going to stop today. Okay, like I said, you don't have to take any screenshots or submit, okay? But just wanted to make sure we got those done. The next time we'll take notes will be Friday, and then we'll finish them up Monday, okay?